All right, what's up, guys, and welcome back to the Dunk Talk Podcast, episode 62. Today we're here with Jordan, second time being on here, and something really cool happened for Jordan recently. And so we're going to be talking about that today. So, Jordan, introduce yourself. We'll get right to it.
My name is Jordan Kilganon. I'm a professional basketball dunker, and yeah, I just have my shoe that just released not too long ago, and I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, guys, mine right here. But everyone in the dunk community is getting them now. Super cool mullet. I believe this is first time any professional dunker has done really anything like custom with shoes, right?
Yeah, it's the first time. That's why I think it's like a
It's
really
a
cool moment.
mental moment. Yeah.
I hope
It's
this is
like,
like the beginning of like other dunkers getting their shoes too. Be cool.
totally, yeah. Yeah, so today, guys, we're just gonna be talking about, the process of getting them, some cool features and stuff like that, and plans and all that. So, I mean, just starting off, we'll just go back a bit, like throughout your career, like what has been kind of like your history with shoes? What have you tried? What have you liked? What haven't you liked? All that.
Yeah, I mean, if I go really far back, uh, my dad spoiled me like freaking crazy with shoes when I was young. Like even in high school, or elementary school, I probably had like 30 pairs of shoes. Like my dad just really spoiled me. So I was known as a kid with like a locker full of shoes from like top to bottom. Like the entire locker was just shoes. Um, and then so yeah, I've tried a lot of shoes in my life. Um, I stuck a lot to like Nikes and LeBron, I feel like, and Air Jordan. Um, and then once I got into my dunking career, I was wearing Adidas Zeros for a bit. They were lights and the traction was pretty good. Traction wore away pretty quick though. And so yeah, when I first became a pro, I was wearing the Adidas Zeros, like the St. Mary's College show. Those are good. They hurt my feet a little bit, but I didn't really care. The performance was decent enough. By performance, I mean the traction was pretty good. And then eventually I found the LeBron 10s, which a lot of people don't like. And I actually heard from some people that it actually caused like knee problems because the heel was so high that I
Mhm.
guess it like hits the ground like super early. And like, I don't know what that does, but for me, I couldn't run 100% to my approaches, but they felt bouncy. They felt like the traction was pretty decent. Um, and then I eventually moved to actually even before that, I had was it Jordan, like the Spider-Man looking ones, if you know which ones I'm talking about.
Maybe, yes.
Oh, and then I was also for my K1X. I was sponsored by K1X for a while. I wore those shoes. Um, and then yeah, then I moved on to the Jordan. I'm not good with my numbers, but Jordan
30 something years. You
30
remember?
something. Yeah, Jordan 30 something. And I also like those aren't the only shoes. I actually bought Serious Play only like when they first came out with their shoe, like a long time ago, the Player One. And I didn't love them, to be honest. I yeah, it just wasn't for me. Some people loved them. I was like, yeah, tried them. All right, cool. Next. Um, I remember a long time ago, Serious Play only was like, oh, like what did you like, not like about it, blah blah blah. Time passes by. I try all sorts of other brands. Like I'm just looking at my like shoe wall over there too. I have spent thousands of dollars on shoes. Kobe's, I wore a lot of Kobe's. Um, those break all the time.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've heard that.
yeah, all the time. Apparently you can super glue them. I didn't know that, so that's good information. But anyways, then eventually I came across Sears Play Only's Game Ones, and I liked those a lot. The grip was almost there. It wasn't like quite perfect, but like it was everything else like just felt great about them. So I was locked in with those. And then from that point on, I'll give kind of like the rest of the story and how I came across like this shoe really right here is I was like, you know what? A dream of mine was to get my own shoe in some kind of way sometime before I retire. So, and not just that, I was also looking at a lot of my analytics and whenever people click on my stuff the most, it's either for a jump program or it's to find out what shoes I'm wearing, right? So I was like, okay, it makes sense to like kind of reach out to a shoe brand. But I was like, first, let me figure out what shoe brand I want to work with. So I spent literally thousands of dollars buying all sorts of different shoes from different brands, like a lot of the Chinese ones, a lot of different Nikes, um, and whatever was kind of like the top rated stuff. And after a lot of trial of error, eventually landed on the Game1s. I was like, you know what? It's almost perfect. Good enough. I'll take it. So I'll reach out to them and see what they say. And I reached out to them and they're like, hey, we're actually working on a version of your shoe that's better in basically every single way. The traction will be better and all that. I was like, okay, cool. And they're like, yeah, if you like the model, when you come to China, we'll hand it over and you can let us know what you think and we'll take it from there. And so that's what they did. When I got to China, it was for like a dunk contest. They got there and I think they made a sample like a couple days before they got there to me. They like hurried up and made it and they're like, here you go. We barely got to test this, but like, here you go. And yeah, got to try them out. It was not perfect by any means. It was really good though. They were really good shoes, but they almost like twisted like this, like too much to where I had a plant and it felt like my foot was almost going to go through it a little bit. And the grip wore away very fast on them. And also my foot slipped on the inside of them because there was like no grip things on the inside, right?
Mhm.
So gave them that feedback and they fixed it on the next sample. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the week they like windmilled over a car or something too, right? That's the one it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you've kind of talked about it before that you have a history like not only with dunking obviously, but also with, designing, and especially shoes. So kind of walk us through like, what that was like and how you got into that.
Yeah. So I did about 3.5 years of industrial design or product design. And my sketches, like we had to do like sketchbooks every year where we just like have to fill it out. And 90% of them was just shoes. And my teachers would always yell at me and be like, start drawing other things other than shoes, please, for the love of God. And so that's been my thing since I was in high school, elementary school. I just always drew shoes all the time. It was one of my passions for sure. And, I obviously dropped out of school to go for dunking. And so the fact that, I obviously didn't design the shoe, I had a hand in improving the shoe and had a hand in like the colorway, right? And what it looks like and what's on the shoe. And then just to get my own shoe just feels like just like another dream come true. Like the fact that I got to be this kid who everybody said it was impossible for me to be a pro dunker, and that there's like less than 1% chance that that could ever happen. And I got to fulfill that, like my dream of dreams. And then I also get to have the shoe. Just feels messed up. But I actually got like when I wasn't around anybody, but whenever this dropped, like on the last day of camp, I was like emotional. I was like this hit me really hard. I was like, this is crazy. Like I just got to fulfill this like childhood dream of mine, which just almost feels like unfair. The fact that I get to fulfill this dunking dream and this shoe thing too.
Yeah, super cool. I mean, obviously you mentioned the colorway. The colorway is super iconic and all that. I feel like I kind of understand, the colors and all that, but walk
Yeah.
someone who maybe doesn't know like through like why you chose the colors you chose and all that.
So it actually goes back further to like stuff that you might not know, I guess.
Maybe.
When I was in school, for product design, every time we have to do a project where we're doing some kind of rendering with like colors, like we're on Photoshop and we have to do graphic design or whatever else, I didn't even notice that I just kept picking a color like this, like for the design of anything, whether it was shoes or just like my own logo. We had to make our own logo in graphic design class and whatever else. And when she saw my graphic design for my own logo in school, she's like, "Oh, there's the Jordan blue again." And I was like, I do keep picking this color, not like, right? I'm like, huh. Because I would always say like my favorite colors were like the Michael Jordan colors, like baby blue, or I did like blue in general, but I never picked like a cyan color, like a teal color as like my favorite color. Or I'd say like red, black, and white. But yeah, then all of a sudden I just kind of noticed that no matter what I was designing, I always just liked the cyan type color the best, right? Like you put like a wall of shoes on a wall and they're all solid colors. The one that's like cyan looking, I'm like, that one's sick. Like it
Mhm.
stands out right
Yeah.
away. I started picking up on that pattern. So eventually, um, later on in my dunking journey, uh, I saw this is like a long story, but so I saw there was Tito, right? He was my favorite dunker ever. He would wear baggy shirt, baggy shorts. He had dreads that would fly in the air, and it's just I feel like it made his style look even cooler. It's just so much movement in the air as he's doing his dunks, and it just adds to the style. And I remember being with Michael Purdy. I was like, man, I wish white dudes could get dreads. I don't know anything. He's like, what are you talking about? White dudes can't get dreads. And he's like, just. I was like, again. I was like, okay, cool. So I went ahead and like started the process for that. Started growing my hair up at the top. And then there was another white dunker that got dreads, and I was like, I don't want to look like I'm copying him, so I'm gonna get blue dreads, whatever, you know? And so yeah, I went ahead and dyed my hair blue before I got them at the dreads, which was the Gary Payton video. And then so I blew up. That's the NBA's most viewed video, like 100 something million views. And I was now known as the blue hair guy. Then I did Dunk King, which also blew up with the blue dreads now. And again, I am blue hair guy. So it became an accidental branding thing, which I was okay with. It was my color, you know. I love this color.
Yeah.
A logo for Jumpmaster X, for Jumpmaster, for everything ever. My shorts are that color. Everything is that color. You know, it's just part of my brand now. Which hindsight, I was like, yeah, that's was great for marketing. It really is
Well,
fantastic. Like people, not everybody remembers Jordan Kilganon, but they remember the blue hair guy. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it worked out, and this how to keep this in line. Luckily, my brand color is the color that I love. Is my favorite color. So, yeah.
yeah, it's funny because I think Kilganon is like a crazy cool name, but I swear I see people like mispronounce it or misspell it all the time, like
Yeah,
Kilganon and stuff like that. But they, you know,
yeah.
they'll remember it.
It's harder to remember than something like let's say the gamer ninja. Like that's super easy to remember. I don't have
Yeah.
like a quick, easy name to remember, which marketing wise, I probably should have had something like that. But well,
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we talked about the color, but aside from the color, there's a bunch of other details around the shoe that are just kind of like ingrained or whatever. So kind of like, walk us through each of those and why they're important, the meaning behind them and all
yeah.
that.
So before I say any of that, I will say that my favorite thing about this shoe by far is nothing to do cosmetically. It's just the performance of it. It would really suck if I collabed with somebody on a shoe and it wasn't good. Uh, but the fact that it is genuinely the best shoe I've ever worn, is really lucky for me. Is really fortunate. Um, because yeah, this is the only shoe I've ever worn that I can actually run 100% into, and I know I'm not going to slip. My foot's not going to blow through it. Nothing weird happens with the way it snags on the ground or anything like that. And they happen to be the lightest shoe of the year, which, to be honest, I used to say I didn't really care that much about the weight of the shoe. Um, so the fact that they made it this light while keeping everything else like at 100% is kind of crazy. It kind of doesn't make sense.
Yeah. That's the hardest part.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
not sure how to do that, but hey, they did it, and I'm happy about it. I mean, they did use some new kind of technologies and stuff like that, like with the foam there. But I think
yeah. And I
that's
think one concern for a lot of people, especially when shoes are that light, is that like the durability is going to be trash. But you told me you've been wearing that pair for like almost a year now, right?
this specific one right here. Um, what is North Carolina? Oh wow, it's been quite some time. Like
Yeah.
yeah, like 8 months or something. Wow, time flies. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, you guys know how much force I put through shoes and how fast I run into shoes, and they're still like pristine. You know what I mean?
If Jordan hasn't broke them yet, you are likely not going to. So unless you do something, stupid. But yeah,
Literally,
wow.
uh, not just the durability, but like how well it contains your foot. Because there have been like other lighter shoes that, for me, they're either uncomfortable, like kind of like thin but like hard. You know what I mean? To where like it just doesn't feel right. But anyways, enough about that. Fantastic shoe, obviously, and then cosmetically, obviously we got the blue color. One thing that's cool is we got the Scorpion Dunk logo right here, which obviously that's my signature dunk. This is also my new logo. Shout out to Serious Play Only for making my new logo. Definitely better than my old one. Um, then I got my signature on the back, Jordan Kilganon. And this part is really cool. I actually kind of surprised I haven't seen this on any other shoe. Maybe some other shoes do have it, but I've never really seen it myself, where it's like a hologram on the back that like, changes, which is freaking crazy. Um, Especially if you're trying to make like the lightest shoe ever, and you're just like, yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and add this too. And then, oh, a couple other things. So here we have act right here on the shoe. So to me, that's basically just a reminder to take action. It's actually my tattoo right here on my hands. And yeah, it's in the line of sight of me when I look at my phone, right? So if I'm ever gonna waste time, it's probably gonna be when I'm on my phone. So the second I realize like that I have this tattoo, and let's say I'm being lazy and wasting my time, I'm like Jordan, like you got this tattoo, like you can't, now that you remembered it, you can't just sit here, like you have to get up and do something, right? So it's a fantastic reminder for me to basically just not be lazy, you know? So I thought it'd be cool to kind of put it on there as well. It's my first tattoo too. It means a good bit to me. I'm also a lot about habits, so. And then one of my favorite parts is becoming one of my favorite parts as I'm gonna close in on it is I got the numbers 1 and 2 on the shoe. So I don't know if you can see that there.
I can say,
Yeah, so that's number 12, right? The reason for that is two reasons. One, it's just my favorite number. It's my dad's worn it a lot too. And to give the long explanation, Michael Jordan's favorite number is 45, but his brother took it. So Michael Jordan took half of 45, which is 22.5, rounded up is 23. That's how Michael Jordan got 23. Half of 23 is 11.5, rounded up is 12. So I thought that was funny. And then the big reason why it's on that shoe is because I have yet to touch 12 feet. And if I do touch 12 feet, that means I have a 15-inch vertical. So it's basically foreshadowing to say, I'm going to be touching 12 feet and testing a 15-inch vertical in these shoes. It's happening.
sick.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited to do that.
Yeah, dude,
Also,
sick.
small thing, but like I've been getting more comments than ever saying how it's sad that like I'm not in my prime anymore, that I'm on my way out now, and I'm not what I used to be. I'm like, it
Noticed a
is.
few of those. Yeah, it's hilarious.
So I'll have to remind people.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, obviously, a lot went into the looks in the shoe. Looks super sick, but besides that, like performance-wise, I know you mentioned a little bit. What were some of the, non-negotiables when it comes to performance that you were looking for?
So the number one by far is just attraction, right? But that was just so hard to find my whole life. Like I swear to God, I probably would have already tested 50 multiple times. But every time I go for like, I'm like, okay, now I'm finally trying it all out, and I slip. That's just always how it goes, which really sucks. And now that's literally impossible in these shoes. But like the downside I've gotten about these shoes is that it's maybe too grippy. You know what I mean? Which I'm like, that's a great problem to have for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, even courts where like with any normal basketball shoe, you're slipping a lot. These, you're not going anywhere. So that's number one for sure. Number two is kind of just the way that it contains my foot, right? If I go to jump and my foot feels like it's going to blow through the side, like some shoes, like there's not enough containment here, and my foot pushes through, and like the whole thing just like flips over as I'm jumping. Like, and there's just no point. There's no point in me wearing the shoes, you know? Which I think is why I often went for like some shoes that tended to be a bit more bulky, is because that wasn't happening with those shoes. I stayed in it, and again, somehow they managed to do this while keeping it light. Um, the thing with them being light is, again, I used to say I don't really care that much. That was just kind of like a bonus. But now that I've tried shoes that are this light, especially as a dunker, I don't know, it just feels different. Like if you're doing like a between the legs or something like that, and you're bringing your leg up quick and bring it down, it just feels like there's nothing added. It just feels as easy as it should be. It really feels like you're basically bare feet. Like you put it on your feet, you just really don't remember you have shoes on. You're just kind of running around bare feet is what it feels like. So it feels super quick to move around. And yeah, outside of that, I want them to be kind of bouncy feeling. Like I don't like cushions that are just like mush. You know what I mean? Like where
yeah,
you're
same.
basically where you're basically sitting on like a memory foam type thing that just like squishes. Like I want to like bounce back off it. And I think that's part of their new technology here where the entire midsole you could take out. If those people don't know, it's not like an insole. Like this is the cushioning. It's the full thing, which you can replace with different. They have different ones that you can replace in each shoe, which is really cool. But this is like, I don't know, like bouncy feeling. Like it get this shape back right away, which is super cool. Like it just wants to get back to shape, which is fantastic. I was actually worried about that with how light this was going to be on like the first version that they sent me. I was like, this feels like too, I don't know. They tried it on, it's like sturdy but bouncy. But yeah, I don't know what they did. I don't know what it's called for that technology, but yeah, they did a good job for that. And oh, this piece is really important to me. Is they have like this grip on here, which they didn't have at first. Sorry, I mentioned before. And my foot was sliding on the inside, which is really not good because if you're going to take off and you're planting a foot and then your foot slips on the inside of the shoe, you might as well have slipped in real life. Like, and you're losing energy that should have been transferred upwards. You're losing some of that. So you're fully not going to jump as high if that happens, which is a problem. So I was worried at first when I saw that problem. It's like, oh, can we please put like some grip things on there? I knew that was like maybe going to be like a problem asked because they're trying to keep it as light as possible. But hey, they managed to do it. And yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, and I know basically every single shoe brand kind of brags about their shoes being like super light or whatever. And just to like give some stats here, I actually weighed like a lot of my shoes. I have probably 50 pairs of shoes like right next to me. And these are, considerably lightest by like multiple grams. And I literally, again, have like 50 pairs of shoes here. Leaning Gammas are one of them. I know a lot of people were super excited about those and how light they are. These are even lighter. So excited to try those out. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I feel like the one thing that I do, I feel like I need to like make this a video because just the reactions you get when you hand somebody the shoe and you just go like this, and then they just like hold the shoe. They're always like, "What the?"
Yeah.
Blows their mind on how light it is. And to be honest, when I went to weigh it compared to other shoes, I was almost surprised that like it felt half as light as some shoes when it wasn't. It was just like, let's say these are like what 295, 299 grams, something like that. And another shoe, let's say, would be like 450 grams. It felt like the other shoe might as well have been like double of this. It just feels like that little off makes such a big difference in how it feels. Like it's actually crazy.
Yeah. And not only that, but also weight distribution is huge. Like I know a lot of people love the GT Cut ones, even though they're like generally like really heavy shoes, but it's just like kind of like how it's distributed and stuff like that. And so the fact that these are not only light, but like we mentioned, like it's distributed well and it's just built well, super nice. So that's pretty crazy. I'm not even joking. When the box came to my house, my mom thought they were like slides or something like that. Cause I get like so many like, so I get so, she was like, oh, I don't think that's what those are. I was like, no, yeah, it is. Cause I don't know.
That's
I
really
get
funny.
a pair of something every week. So it's funny. But yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I
yeah,
know you go ahead.
I was gonna say one thing with these guys with the products is I feel like the first time I tried the first sample of the shoe, I put it on and started walking around. I was like, ooh, they feel like really good, which it did. It's the first time putting it on. I wasn't in a gym. I was just in like this, hotel lobby and running and trying to stop. I was like, oh yeah, they feel like actually like really good. I feel like they'd be like my favorite shoes, I think. And they're like, it's so funny. The owner just looks at me. He's like, he almost looked like super like disappointed and almost angry. I'm like, isn't this a good thing? He's like, no, I need to know like what I can improve. Like he's like, just so they're so driven with, and that's the first thing they come back to me with every single time is like, what can we do better? What can we do better? What can we do better? The second there's a complaint, it's like, okay, we need to fix this ASAP. Like they're just crushing it. I feel like they're not like your typical guys who, like, let's say with Nike and other brands, they just like constantly just come out with like a new version like every year, kind of like a car company, right? They just have like a new model like every whatever years. But these guys, they get their model and then they keep like improving on it again and again and again and again. Like they keep the same one and they just make it better and better and upgrade it and upgrade it and upgrade it. Which like, how do you compete with that? Like product
Yeah.
wise, you get crazy product. It's just gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. I know that's one thing that's really cool though, because I think a lot of brands, especially like Nike and stuff like that, especially with their signature shoes, they just like, throw it out there. And then at the end of the day, like you're not even getting the same shoe as the actual player is using. Like it's completely different. They just like worse materials and everything. And to see kind of, a brand that is really just, being very intentional about making everyone better than the last one, it's powerful. So yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So I know we kind of mentioned you seeing like the model or whatever, like the first iteration of them in real life, but what was your reaction to seeing like, the actual colorway and the actual shoe for the first time?
it was another one of those surreal moments that made it like more real than ever. Like when I saw like the colorway, especially because I saw like the colorway just as a design, as a rendering, like so much earlier. And it took a lot of time for them to get to me to look that way. And yeah, I was just like, this is so freaking cool. And I remember the first day I wore them, I wore it with, my blue shorts and just doing my dunks in my blue shorts with the blue shoes. I was like, man, this looks so freaking cool. And that was actually the session I did the double windmill in. That's how long ago I did that double windmill was quite some time ago. Um, but yeah, I just remember seeing like the videos. I'm like, this looks awesome. I finally get shoes that match all this other stuff too.
Yeah. I'm gonna look like a complete glazer tomorrow wearing these, the shorts, the new shirt too, everything.
I know Finn was saying the same thing. He's like, bro, I'm like Jordan gave him everything. Like he's like, it just feels like almost too much.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Even Ben at dunk camp, he's wearing my shorts, he was wearing the Jump Master X t-shirt, and he was wearing my shoes. He's like, somebody was like, hey, fit check with Ben. He's like, Jordan, Jordan, Jordan. He's
Yeah,
like, yeah.
pretty much, dude. But yeah, so I know we've talked a lot about dunkers and how this is gonna be good for dunkers, but if there's any basketball players watching this right now, like what would you kind of tell them about your shoes?
I feel like the best dunk shoe is just probably the best basketball shoe. Like
No, yeah, I would agree with that for
feel like
sure.
you just for all the same things, really, right? Like you want something that like gives you energy back. You want something that is light. At least that's what most people like want is something that's light, but that isn't sacrificing on all the other stuff that your foot's not going to blow through it. Traction is always king. Traction is always number one. And I will say that the way they designed all this, where like the way that this kind of rolled, I think it's a bit like a Kyrie in some senses, where like, it's not just like out here and then straight up. It like curves inwards here. Um, I don't know, it just gives you like a good surface to push off of and change directions. If I was playing basketball, this would easily be the choice. If I was a volleyball player, this would easily be the choice. I don't know. This just feels like something you'd want to move around like really quickly and like maybe less if you're like a big man. Although I don't know what they look for in a shoe. I just know that the
I
big
don't know.
man.
I feel like
They,
that's honestly just a marketing thing. Like brands are like,
I
oh, this is
honestly,
the shoe for centers. Like, what does that
it's
even
just a giant bulky thing. I'm like, okay,
No,
like
that's complete marketing. I can almost guarantee that.
okay. I kind of
That's,
I just played basketball a long time, so I'm just
yeah.
and like I remember they gave me this shoe and they're like, oh yeah, this is like for big mans, but like we want you to wear this in a dunk contest. I was like, no, I'm gonna go buy. I had to wear Nike for this dunk contest, and they gave me this pair of shoes. Are they over there somewhere? Anyways,
Or like GT
yeah,
jumps or something. That's
yeah, they're impressive. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna wear these. I'm gonna go buy a different pair of shoes because these are crazy big. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what a big man's gonna want, but I know if you're gonna move around on the court as quickly as possible, uh, I don't see any other choice other than this. Really.
yeah, for sure. I mean, if you could see one NBA player wearing this on the court next season, who would it be?
You asked me about basketball, right? Okay. I'm gonna give you an old player because I'm not really caught up with new guys right now. I should like the nastiest shoe for somebody like Derrick Rose.
Oh yeah, totally.
100%.
When he
100%. The
played for
way that,
Minnesota too.
yeah. Or,
He wasn't. Yeah, he
Chicago.
wasn't quite in his bouncy prime there,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah,
was
no,
mentioning.
Chicago. But I mean, even like somebody like Kyrie or something like that, just being able to like move like really quickly and yeah, yeah, for sure.
You seen Kyrie's dunks? He was like
I'm
he
sure I've
like
seen it.
randomly did some a couple years ago at like the Drew League or something like that, and he was doing like reverse pumps and windmills and all that. Did not know he had that. Crazy.
That's cool. That's like,
Yeah, he's bouncy. But yeah, I mean, so obviously we kind of mentioned all the things that goes into this shoe, that went into this shoe, I should say. But like, what does this mean, bigger picture for you? Like, what are you kind of, goals for this project? Like, what would success look like for this?
I mean, success is just to sell as many shoes, really.
Yeah,
I just want this to be something that does so well that is something that they want to continue doing, that seriously only wants to continue doing. That way, it opens up the doors for other knockers to get their shoes as well. I do believe, a lot of people look to dunkers sometimes for like what shoes we wear, because if it's good enough to jump around 50 inches in, then it's probably good enough for like what they're doing as well. Um, yeah, but that's the main goal, is to make sure it does as well as possible.
definitely. And where can people find this? Get more information, buy them, whatever they want to do.
So if you just type in seriousplayeronly.com, or if you want, you can also just go to my Instagram bio. All the links are there. I'm posting about it literally all the time because, again, I'm trying to blow this up. So, yeah.
Or go to jordankilganon.com. Need some traffic on there, guys.
True.
Right over there.
There it is, like the first thing when you go there right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, it looks super sick. All right. Well, again, Jordan, congrats on this. Super cool. Thanks for hopping on and telling everyone about it. Go check it out, guys. I haven't tried them yet, but again, comparing them to all my other shoes and stuff like that, I'm excited to jump in them tomorrow. So, yeah,
Let me know how that goes.
definitely for sure. All right. Thanks for hopping on. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. So.
Appreciate you.